videos, we've shown how you can move the markers on the alternate view to update the latitude and longitude of the record that's associated with the marker. So you can see here we have our grid on the airports database. It's right now we're filtered on airports in Massachusetts, and for each airport we have a marker displayed there, and you can see that if I go and I move that marker, we update the corresponding latitude and longitude of the record. But as you can see here, this grid is an updatable grid, so it's possible to add new records to the grid. And clearly what you'd like to do when you go and add a new record is, instead of just typing in the latitude and longitude, you'd like to get that by reading it off the map. So you can see now that if I give focus to the new record row and then just right click on the map at the location where this new record should be located, you can see that we add a new marker to the map, and now we've filled in the latitude and longitude of that record. And then if I go now and move that marker to a different place, we're going to update it. Then if I go there into the second new record row and right click, you can see now we have another marker over there, and then we can go to the third row and replace and right click over there, and then we could of course fill in the rest of the data and then hit the submit button and then add those new records to the grid. So let's go back to the builder now and see how we configured the alternate view to add a new record, to add a new marker on the right click action. So we'll go back to design mode now, and then we'll open up the alternate view builder, and if we scroll to the bottom here, you can see that there's a property now called add new marker on right click. This is obviously for new records, and then if we want, we can specify an optional marker icon to use for the new records. By default we just use those green icons that you saw. We can specify the title text for the new marker, and we can use the curly bracket row number placeholder if we want. We can specify info text, we can specify the marker layer if we want as well, and then here we specify the field in the grid that contains the latitude value and the field that contains the longitude value. And then finally we specify the name of a JavaScript function to call when the user drags the marker, the new record marker, after it's been placed. And you can see that if we open up the builder here, we specified that we want the function to be called new marker drag, and then if we click the show function prototype, Alpha 5 shows us what the code needs to do. So here is some sample code. You can see when this function is called, the value, these two parameters m and e are passed in, and if we actually look at the function that we actually are using in this case, you can see here that we're getting the value of the latitude and longitude of the marker after it's been dropped, and then e.row number is the row number that we're that currently has focus, and so we're just calling the grid objects set value method to update the value in those two fields over there. So there's really not very much involved in implementing the feature to add a new marker on the right click action. Now if this action is turned off, you can see here I'm going to go here and turn it off. So if it's been turned off, then you can optionally define your own right click handler. So this is a more general situation than choosing this option over here. So if you choose the add new marker, then Alpha 5 writes the on right click handler for you automatically. But if you prefer to write the on right click handler yourself, then you can just specify an on right click event over there, and then if you open up the smart field, you can get the prototype from the builder automatically. So I hope you found this interesting. Thanks very much.